I
There we
believe
go.
you may need to consent. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, no?
It's just going.
That seems very
Yeah.
concerning, but all right. Okay.
Todd Mclellan is a Canadian photographer and fixer. His photo series, Things Come Apart, which is currently touring with the Smithsonian, is a teardown of our everyday objects. We at Astor House, the makers of the Freewrite line of distraction-free writing tools, are pretty interested in what makes devices tick. So we commissioned Todd to create art with the Freewrite using his similar themes.
Our audience would probably consider themselves first and foremost writers, but
Right.
there definitely is an overlap in the sense that many of us appreciate storytelling in visual art and, of course, in writing. So is there a story that you have been trying to tell?
Sorry, I guess the story is about like the complexities or to everything that we handle and touch in life, and how can we experience it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
It was collaboration. I've been working on this since 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and released a couple books, and then I was working with Popular Mechanics, where we were supposed to do the disassembled Freewrite, and we ended up not working. I didn't work with them on that project, so Adam reached out and we worked together on it to create this poster. Well, I mean, it was a mechanical typewriter. I think I forget the year on it, but back when it was completely mechanical, no electronics at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I kind of had an idea of what the differences might be, but the Freewrite was pretty cool because it had a lot of the same sort of metal parts to it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're just two different projects, but like in different eras. I think, I kind of stopped doing in certain places I do the Apart series, but it's very much on like really recognizable objects, because I've done it on some things that are recognizable in their own, but when they're exploding through the air, people are like,
true.
what is that?
Okay.
So the Freewrite might have worked with that, but I think having it laid out, they won't get it confused with the typewriter.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mechanical typewriter,
Right.
like this a very unique product, right? And I think when it's exploding through the air, you don't get a true appreciation for the pieces. So I think some Apart pieces are more successful than others, and I've kind of like laid off only when I really think that the viewer's gonna understand what it is. The amount of parts that go into it, like you think it'd be fairly simple being electronics. Sometimes the simple, like it would be a simple, like a mechanical object always has way more going on in it, usually.
Mm-hmm.
So this one has a lot of behind the scenes, like the computer part to it and the screen. But when you lay it all out to create a composition, surprisingly how many parts are in each of these. It was a bit quicker. The composition was a little harder because the parts were a little bit more square. So to sort of create a composition where it's like evenly balanced with the main component and sort of being true to how like I was able to disassemble the Freewrite.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around 2 days, if I remember correctly. The disassembly was quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
The composition takes a little bit of work to it. I think a lot of people try and put it back together in their minds.
Okay.
Or sometimes they're confused from the actual original piece fully assembled to the photograph. But from my experience, a lot of people try and like, oh, this came from here, and I see this part here, and this is what this does, and it's quite big with engineers. Yeah, I mean, the process is definitely part of the art. The final composition is sort of the piece. I think it's the experience along the way.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who's technically, savvy, they would have a different experience and may not be with this, but it sort of brings them back to certain pieces or things that they've done, or things that they've achieved. So the final composition is the piece, and although there is a journey to it. Like,
Okay.
like I think every painter, they have their final painting up on the wall, but their life and what they did up to that painting is sort of, it's not quite in that piece, but it is part of the experience. Probably change the answer all the time. But it's totally, I think, just a matter of like seeing or understanding or the thought process and sort of what goes behind all the objects that you use.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of like a aha experience. The mechanical pencil was one of them because it's so simple.
Mm-hmm.
And like you mentioned, the typewriter, that's always kind of there, and the telephone, the rotary telephone.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the Macintosh computer. Okay, do I have to name just one? Is it bad to have? But I'm just like they're just coming to the top of mind because of like the differences between them. Like there's the different space levels and complexities within them.
No, you definitely aren't
let's
obligated to.
Let's go with the pencil today. So it was creating a composition of like objects to create sort of a theme and tell a story behind that. That one was for a company that's creating solar power. So it's all about lighting and power. So the light in the middle is actually like a designer lamp surrounded by other lamps to create the sun. Climbers attempt at, I forget which mountain it was. It was up in Alaska, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically that one, it's all the camping gear that he's used on that trip.
Okay.
And so I worked with him. I went up north and we found an old church that he knew the person of, and I photographed it in this old church. That was just a fun personal project. I found most of them at this one farm in southern Ontario, where she raised chickens and they were her pets, and so then I photographed them in her barn. I have all these backgrounds of old farms, and so that I projected it across the chickens, sort of giving them their background. They're just like a portrait series of them. I'm a pretty quiet guy, so that'd be a hard one.
It's like I wouldn't ask myself anything.
I wouldn't ask anybody. I'd come to my own conclusions. Yeah, no.
I do kind of like that answer. I gotta say, no one has ever said nothing.